What are the 5 USCIS tricks that they use to deny people their marriage-based green card cases? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking here in San Diego, California. We have offices in St. Louis and Washington, D.C., and we practice throughout the United States. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 worst tricks that USCIS uses to deny people their marriage-based green cards. The first dirty trick we're seeing from USCIS is when they delay a case on purpose. Now, everybody knows that marriage-based green card cases, like many cases in immigration, take a long time. I'm not talking about general delays. I'm talking about situations where USCIS sits on a case for an extra long period of time in order to figure out if the marriage is going to fall apart. That's right, they're rooting against you, they're rooting against your marriage, and they're hoping that it fails. USCIS has sort of these fraud indicators where they think that people's marriages are probably fake, and so if the beneficiary has been out of status for a while, or if the couple got married very quickly, especially after the beneficiary arrived in the United States, those would be cases in which they would try to delay the adjudication, the final decision of the green card, in order to see if the marriage itself falls apart. There are a couple of things you can do to try to prevent this from happening. One would be to file a very strong case, to submit overwhelming amount of evidence to demonstrate that the relationship is real and not just for an immigration benefit. The other thing would be, of course, to not get married very quickly. When they see a fast marriage, when the couple submits very little evidence that they knew each other for very long before they filed for the green card, those are the kinds of things that can make USCIS suspicious and would lead to them delaying the case in the manner that I just described. So that's trick number 1, trying to see if the marriage falls apart under the weight of the delay. We've had a lot of clients get in trouble this way, and so not only do they come and check with you, they also talk to the landlord. This is where they'll go and look at the lease, and sometimes people will not have added the beneficiary or the petitioner to the lease. And so it's a real problem, because now USCIS is starting to get suspicious. They think that your living arrangements that you've put on paper, as you've told them to USCIS, don't match up with what the landlord is saying. So knocking on your door is one thing, but also knocking on your neighbor's doors, knocking on your landlord's doors, those are ways that they will try to verify if the marriage is real itself. So it is vitally important that you remember everything about your entry, that you remember what you did when you went to the embassy. You have to remember what you put in your DS-160. You have to remember why you told them you were coming to the United States. And if there's any inconsistencies, if there's anything in there that wasn't true, or that you sort of exaggerated or sort of hyped up, that's going to be a real problem. So you can obtain a copy of your DS-160 from the State Department if you have questions about this. You know, a lot of people use these sort of notarios or embassy officials or visa consultants to help them fill out these applications for visit visas, and these can be a real problem because a lot of times those people will tell the foreign national to lie, or they'll check a box that's not true, and usually that involves saying that you were married. So we've had a lot of cases going along those lines. Looking at prior marriages is the 4th way that USCIS works to try to keep people from getting their green cards. And what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times USCIS will recognize that the current marriage is completely legitimate. They can tell that the U.S. citizen is sincere, that the couple's actually in love, but they're not satisfied with just approving that case based on that. They want to go back and check the non-immigrant's marriage history and see if there was a prior application. If there was a prior application, that can really lead to some problems. All right, well, if you've made it this far, you must really care about this issue, and it's a good thing that you stayed around, because this is the most important and the dirtiest of tricks, and the most common way that USCIS uses. The 5th and final method of USCIS trying to keep people from getting their green cards is the dreaded Stokes interview. The Stokes interview. Even this dog knows the Stokes interview is so bad. One extra dimension of the Stokes interview is that if the U.S. citizen goes into that room without their lawyer and the people don't have representation, we've seen a lot of situations where USCIS will even call in an extra officer to try to intimidate the U.S. citizen and encourage them very strongly to withdraw the application. So they'll accuse them of marriage fraud. And so in these situations, I always say the most important thing going into a marriage-based green card case is how the U.S. citizen or LPR petitioner is going to do. How are they going to hold up under pressure, especially if they don't have an attorney? USCIS doesn't really try that when you have an attorney. So when people ask me what's one of the reasons why you want to have an attorney at your immigration interview, this is one of them. There's really some abuse that goes on. We've seen it time and time again. In fact, I've seen situations where the U.S. citizen actually went ahead and withdrew the application and didn't even tell their spouse. So they let the spouse think that the marriage case was still going forward, and they never even told them because they were too scared. Hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, give us a call, 314-961-8200. You can email us, info@hackinglawpractice.com. Be sure to join us in our Facebook group and our, it's called Immigrant Home. Follow us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, and don't forget we're going live most days where I answer your questions for an hour on the Immigration Answer Show live. If you want to join in, just join us in our Facebook group or on the YouTube channel. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.